Coming up on BCN today, the number of businesses in Lethbridge rising, according to a survey. Plus, Lethbridge College doing their part to raise awareness of the stigma associated with mental health. And political reporter Brian Lilly discusses the major contenders in the federal conservative leadership race.
Your Canada. Your Southern Alberta. Your stories. From our studios in the heart of Lethbridge, it's BCN Today with Jeanette Roche.
Hello, and thanks for joining us. China has now counted 170 deaths from the new coronavirus, and 7,800 are infected. More countries have reported infections as foreign evacuees from China's worst-hit region return home. Health officials say it could be a year or more before a vaccine is developed for the virus. Canada's system for identifying, diagnosing, and managing disease outbreaks will be tested as the disease spreads. Canada's Chief Public Health Officer, Dr. Theresa Tam, says the system has improved dramatically since the SARS outbreak of 2002 to 2003. For now, the only treatment available for those who catch this new virus is supportive care. There are 3 confirmed cases of the virus in Canada, 2 in Ontario, and 1 in British Columbia, all linked to recent travel in China. Ontario health officials are set to hold a media briefing on the response to coronavirus this morning. Meanwhile, a professor at Northwestern University is one of the scientists racing to stop the deadly coronavirus. Carla Satchel is working with a team investigating the structure of the virus and to stop it from replicating in human cells.
What makes coronavirus a particular challenge is that, like all viruses, it has a capacity to change. And so, as what we know about related viruses such as SARS doesn't always tell us exactly how to treat or prevent illnesses in people who might contract this particular coronavirus. You just have many unknowns. And we don't know how fast this is going to spread, and we don't know how infectious is going to be if it were to spread worldwide. And so it's important for us to generate scientific information as fast as possible to determine if what we know from having studied SARS will apply to this new coronavirus. The machinery that makes up the viral particles has many different functions. And so a great example would be if you were a factory, you might have many different kinds of machines that would be used to produce, for example, a car. And if you can block those machines from functioning, you could block a car from being assembled. A virus works the same way, and it has to actually make many different components of that virus before that virus is fully intact.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says officials in China are working to help Canadians who are stuck in quarantine due to the outbreak of the coronavirus. Officials say the federal government has been in contact with U.S. officials about their own repatriation plan.
We are working very closely with our consular officials in China. We're listening and concerned about the Canadians who are right now in the affected zone. We will look at what we can do. There are many countries looking at different ways to help out.
So as you know, we've responded very quickly to this coronavirus situation, and we have put in place a lot of measures, and of course the Public Health Agency of Canada is leading this. The risk is low at this point. Nothing is being contemplated at this point, but we monitor the situation continuously.
A new study conducted by the Lethbridge Chamber of Commerce and Economic Development Lethbridge is showing positive results for many local businesses. 143 businesses were surveyed last fall as part of the Brighter Together survey, 109 of which had 100 or fewer local employees. Overall, the report claims that there has been a 1% increase in the number of businesses in the city, with the largest growth being experienced in health, information and culture, and accommodation, and also food and beverage. Alberta's Senior and Housing Minister will be in Lethbridge today to announce an $11 million capital investment for supportive housing to help people who are at risk of homelessness in our city. Josephine Pon will make the announcement at City Hall today at 1 p.m. Police in Medicine Hat have arrested 3 people in connection with a drug bust. The 2-month-long investigation, which included help from Calgary Police and Brooks RCMP, resulted in the seizure of $30,000 worth of cocaine, methamphetamine, and fentanyl. 47-year-old Wayne Saul, 32-year-old Nancy Fair, and 33-year-old Crystal Spence, all from Medicine Hat, face a wide range of charges. The 3 were allegedly part of a networking transporting drugs from Calgary and distributing them in southeastern Alberta. It was quite the scare for staff and students at Lethbridge College Tuesday afternoon when thousands of people were evacuated from the college because of a bomb scare. It turned out to be a hoax, but a spokesperson with the college says they take any threat seriously and have proper protocols in place to deal with threats like the one they experienced this week.
When there's an incident at Lethbridge College, we have a team that assembles, we call it the Incident Command Team, to evaluate whatever situation it is. It can be used for, like we saw yesterday, as something like a bomb threat. It can be used for a water main burst. Anything where we have to get messaging out that will affect many people on our campus. We assemble the team, we evaluate the threat, and then we can scale the team up or down depending on how many people are needed to adequately make sure everybody is safe and taken care of and goes where they need to go. So we assemble that team, and then we have policies and protocol in place to evaluate each situation as it comes and determine the appropriate course of action.
Wednesday was a big day for mental health awareness across Canada, thanks in part to Bell's Let's Talk Day, a day dedicated to ending the stigma surrounding mental health. The initiative has raised $100 million over the last 10 years for mental health initiatives. BCN's Loris Alexander was at Lethbridge College to find out how they're doing their part.
It's a conversation taking the country by storm.
I think it's incredible to try to bring more awareness, and especially being that Bell is a huge company, they're able to bring more and more support and try to raise money to really go towards those resources that it seems are more and more common and more people need nowadays.
The more money we can put into mental health promotion, literacy, it's just going to, again, reduce stigma. It's going to allow people to be able to access mental health.
Today, Bell will donate 5 cents on your behalf just for talking about mental health. Hundreds of thousands of tweets, texts, and phone calls multiplying by the minute, adding up to millions of dollars for mental health initiatives across the country.
Sometimes people feel like they can't talk to someone or they're scared to, and I think having that being a very public thing and having it be part of the college and us all being involved with it makes it a lot more accessible and less of a stigma for sure.
Bell Let's Talk is just a wonderful opportunity for students and the college specifically, students and staff to get around and raise awareness, because a lot of people are not comfortable talking about their mental health.
1 in 5 Canadians will experience a mental health illness at some point in their lives.
Mental health is a struggle in my family. I come from a family of addicts. Mental health is huge, and I think just being able to support them through this is huge.
My sister actually deals with depression and anxiety, so seeing it from her first-hand perspective and knowing kind of the effects that can have on her but also on the family, it's huge, and people need to really just bear it together and be supportive.
More than 550 on-campus events are being held at Canadian colleges and universities, Lethbridge College being one of them. For Bridge City News, I'm Loris Alexander.
It was a special day for students grades 6 through 9 from the Bikani Nation as they took part in workshops at the University of Lethbridge. The students learned a lot about electricity and circuits.
They learned about what 4 parts of a circuit there are so that we could then use it, and then they did a design challenge where they could make their own game controller. So it takes the keyboard out so we can play any online game with certain simple keys, but we turned it into something so they made controllers, they had things contrapted to their bodies. It was really cool. So it was kind of bringing video games to life.
I learned how to make a thing, like a coding thing, and I learned how to play Mario using tinfoil and cardboard connected to wires, and it was really fun.
The Destination Exploration Team featured science, technology, math, and engineering. Alberta's education minister is endorsing a recommendation that school children learn all viewpoints of climate change. A panel reviewing the province's curriculum also says the social studies should reflect the importance of natural resources to Alberta's economy. Adriana Lagrange says she's getting reports from parents of, quote, extremist views being taught in schools, but says climate change must be presented in a balanced way. The report echoes the policy stance of the United Conservative government, which has set up a war room to challenge what it says is damaging a one-sided debate on climate and the role of Alberta's oil and gas sector. Meantime, the province wants feedback from Albertans when it comes to modernizing students' learning. An online survey, which will be available until February 24th, to gather information on the vision, values, and foundations for education in Alberta. Feedback collected will help guide the government as it works to upgrade its curriculum. The survey will be posted on the Government of Alberta's website. The federal Conservatives will be choosing their new leader in less than 6 months. So far, the top 3 contenders are Erin O'Toole, Marilyn Gladue, and Peter MacKay. Our political reporter Brian Lilly says he met with Mr. MacKay recently and asked him about the accusations that he's a red Tory, or someone who's fiscally conservative or socially liberal.
I had a chance to sit down with Peter MacKay. I got the exclusive interview before his big announcement on Saturday. And I said, well, answer the charge that you're just a red Tory. And he said, that's not true. That's not who I am. I'm, a true blue conservative. He said, he just doesn't like the term red Tory. He says these are false divisions within the party that are overstated in the media.
Catch the full interview with Brian Lilly coming up later in our show. Calgary police are searching for 2 CFL rings stolen from a vehicle belonging to Stampeders quarterback Bo Levi Mitchell earlier this month. Police say a 2018 Grey Cup championship ring and a 2018 CFL Most Outstanding Player ring were stolen from the parked truck on January the 2nd. They say they quickly identified a suspect with the help of surveillance images from Calgary Transit, but the rings weren't found when he was arrested. Investigators are asking for the public to be on the lookout for the rings, particularly buyers and sellers of sports memorabilia. The University of Calgary researchers say using a mouth guard could lower the odds of the most common injury in youth hockey. Researchers looked at young players who got concussions and others who got hurt but didn't get concussions. They found a 64% reduction in the odds of a concussion when mouth guards were worn. The study has been published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine. It says the devices reduce the force of impact through the jaw and help activate neck muscles so the impact doesn't hurt the head as much. And U.S. President Donald Trump's legal team appears to be changing tactics, shifting their position to say the president can accept information from a foreign source and such an act can't be an impeachable offense. Democratic Congressman Adam Schiff calls the defense's latest argument a remarkable lowering of the bar. The Democrats also pressed hard to force the Senate to call more witnesses to testify, but Republicans seem intent on bringing the impeachment trial to a vote of acquittal.
You can't solicit foreign interference. And the fact that you're unsuccessful in getting it doesn't exonerate you. A failed scheme doesn't make you innocent.
Were a president of the United States to be removed today, it would pose existential dangers to our ability to live together as a people.
U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is in London on the cusp of Britain's departure from the European Union. Planned talks are expected to focus on a post-Brexit free trade deal and the UK's decision to allow the Chinese tech giant Huawei to play a role in the country's high-speed wireless network. Huawei has been internationally accused of being an extension of the Chinese Communist Party with a legal requirement to hand over information to the party. Well, the mild temperatures will be continuing into the weekend. We do have a strong wind warning in effect, though, that could cause some damage By late this afternoon, we could see wind gusts up to 100 kilometers per hour. I have the full look at weather coming up right after the break. Stay with us. And welcome back. Here's a look at our weather highlights for today and tomorrow in Lethbridge. A high of 9 degrees is expected today, a low of 3 degrees overnight. And look at that. Tomorrow, we're going to be climbing into the double digit there. 12 degrees is expected tomorrow. But just be warned that there is a strong wind warning in effect right now. 100 kilometer per hour winds could be starting tonight and could possibly do some damage that should diminish by tomorrow. Into Saturday, 14-degree high, and then Sunday, lots of sunshine, 0 degrees, and then we're going to drop a little bit, -5 is expected on Monday, and then climb to 5 degrees on Tuesday. Lots of sunshine in and around there as well. 9-degree high is expected on Wednesday with a mix of sun and cloud. The average highs and lows for this time of year, -1 being the high, -13 the low. The high temperature on this day was recorded back in 1962. It was 15 degrees. And the lowest recorded temperature was -39. That was in 1969. The sun rose this morning at 8:08 a.m. and it will be setting at 5:22 this evening. Now, looking across the nation for the high temperatures for today. Victoria and Vancouver, they should be seeing some showers over there on the coast. Victoria's high 10 degrees, Vancouver 8 degrees. Lots of sunshine expected today up in Edmonton with a high of 3 degrees. 5 degrees is expected as a high today in Calgary with a mix of sun and cloud. Now, a different story over the rest of the prairies here. Saskatoon and Regina both expecting highs of 0, but lots of clouds and flurries. Same thing for Winnipeg. They're expecting snow today and a high of -7 degrees. Over into Toronto. Toronto also seeing a chance of flurries today. -1 is their high. -7 expected for both Ottawa and Montreal today. Lots of sunshine though, especially in Montreal, those bright sunny skies. We could see some scattered clouds though over in Ottawa. Looking further east into Atlantic Canada, lots of sunshine also expected in Fredericton today. -6 is their high. -5 the high expected in Halifax with a chance of flurries. Flurries also expected in Charlottetown today. -7 is their high. And St. John's, Newfoundland also will see some snow today with a high of -1. There you go. That's your forecast. Here's a look at what's happening in your community.
Here's your Bridge City News Community Calendar. Easy Does It is an Al-Anon support group for adult children of alcoholics. Get an opportunity to share about your experiences with those who understand and learn healthy coping skills for your relationships. This group meets Thursdays at 7 p.m. at the Church of the Good Shepherd. For details, call Judy at 403-329-0661. Compassionate Friends is a nonprofit international support group for parents who have lost a child either recently or long ago. This group meets the first Saturday of the month from 10 a.m. to noon at McKillop United Church. Parents and their supporting family members and friends are encouraged to attend, observe, and talk about their experiences with other parents. And that's your Bridge City News Community Calendar.
Canada captain Christine Sinclair has become the world's all-time leading goal scorer, notching goals number 184 and 185 in an 11-0 romp Wednesday over St. Kitts and Nevis at CONCACAF Women's Olympic Qualifying Championship. Sinclair says she's now focused on improving ahead of the Olympics.
I definitely feel a relief, just especially with the tournament that we're in right now. There's some big things to focus on, and it's just nice to get it out of the way in the opening game. So now that we can focus on getting better, improving, and qualifying for the Olympics.
Federal agents raided a Philippines-based church in Los Angeles Wednesday in a human trafficking investigation that led to arrests of 3 church leaders in what prosecutors said was a scheme to trick followers into raising money.
Telling people in the Philippines, victims, to come over. They thought maybe they would be conducting concerts, things like that. And then when they got here, they would take their passports from them. They would force them to solicit funds. They don't believe in many cases that they're able to escape. They believe that once they're passport is taken or their visas are taken from them, that they have no status here. I believe $20 million we've at least established at this point has been sent to the Philippines, and most of that money we believe has gone to the lavish lifestyles of the leaders of this organization.
The president of Samaritan's Purse, Franklin Graham, participated in the 2020 March for Life rally held January 24th in Washington, D.C. It was the 47th time the peaceful protest marked the 1973 Roe v. Wade decision by the U.S. Supreme Court to legalize abortion.
And this is the March for Life. We're marching for the unborn, and that's what this is all about. There are millions of children that are aborted every year, not just in this country, but around the world. This is genocide, and we're marching, and we're going to take off here in just a few minutes down toward the Supreme Court. I believe this is a very important time for our country, and for this issue, for this particular cause. This is an incredible event, and to have this many people in Washington to march for life is incredible. And I'm just so glad to be a part of it, just proud to be here. That's the Attorney General of the United States. God bless you. God created life. All of us have just one life to live, and for someone just to decide we want to terminate it because it's not convenient is a sin.
Many of the federal conservative candidates have said that the abortion debate will not be reopened, but there is a group in Canada which says it needs to be. Ruth Shaw is the executive director of the National Campus Life Network, and she says the abortion debate should never be closed.
There are women who are being trafficked who have abortions. There are women who are in abusive relationships who are being pressured. And we can't effectively help any of them because there's this sort of blanket over the whole thing. So long story short, they're wrong. And the more that they try to say the abortion debate is closed, the more that we'll talk about it.
Watch the full interview with Ruth Shaw from the National Campus Life Network as she discusses how they are reaching university and college students. That's coming up later in the show right after this break. Stay with us.